What if an AI could see perfectly in the dark? We are about to dive into some amazing research that teaches a machine to do something that honestly sounds impossible. Read an old school analog gauge in near total blackness. And no, this isn't science fiction. It's a huge leap for autonomous systems, and it all kicks off with one seemingly unreadable picture. So take a good look at this image. For you and me, it's just a noisy, dark mess, right? You can barely even see the gauge, let alone read the needle. But a new AI can look at this and tell you the exact reading, perfectly. The big question is, how? Let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, we need to understand the real problem here. You see, AI has gotten unbelievably good at seeing and making sense of our world, but it's always had this one critical blind spot: darkness. Up until now, when the lights went out, so did the AI. Now, you might be wondering, why is this such a big deal? Because these old school analog meters, they are absolutely everywhere. I mean, they're the silent workhorses tracking the pressure, the flow, the temperature of our most critical infrastructure. Think power grids, water treatment plants, you name it. Automating them is a huge deal, but that automation has to work 24/7, no exceptions. And this right here shows you the problem perfectly. In bright daylight, AI models could read these gauges with incredible accuracy, no problem. But plunge them into darkness, and the performance just plummets to zero, a complete failure. That's a massive issue, right? Because an emergency, like a power outage, is the exact moment you need that monitoring the most. So how in the world do you solve a problem like this? Well, the solution comes from smashing two separate, really brilliant ideas together. You can think of it like combining two different AI superpowers to create one hero that can finally beat the darkness. So on one hand, you had this reader AI. Super clever. It was trained not on real photos, but on thousands of fake, computer-generated 3D images of gauges. That meant it could read almost any kind it saw. Then, on the other hand, you had this night vision AI. And this thing did something wild. Instead of looking at a normal JPEG photo, it went straight to the camera's raw sensor data to pull information out of what looked like pure darkness. Two amazing skills, but nobody had ever put them together. And that, right there, leads to the big breakthrough question. What if you could combine them? What if you could basically give that brilliant reader AI its own pair of high-tech night vision goggles?
And that is exactly what this new research does. It's this really elegant and powerful two-step plan called the Enhance and Read Pipeline. And it's a plan to give AI sight that is, let's be honest, pretty much superhuman.
Okay, so here's how this pipeline works. It's a simple flow. First, the AI gets that dark, messy, raw data straight from the camera. Then, the enhanced network. It's a special type of AI that's great at cleaning up images. It just gets to work. It scrubs out all the noise, brings back the light and color, and spits out a crystal clear picture. Only then is that clean image sent over to the read network, a totally different AI that's an expert at recognition, and it can now easily figure out the correct value. The best way to think about it is this. Instead of trying to teach an AI to somehow read a book in the dark, you just give it night vision goggles first. It's such a clean and effective way to separate the two problems. But of course, this creates a new challenge. How on earth do you get thousands and thousands of dark, noisy images to train this new night vision AI? Well, the answer is the secret weapon of this whole project. You don't use real darkness. You fake it. The researchers came up with this really ingenious idea called synthetic raw data. The core concept is just brilliant. Instead of going out and taking thousands of real low-light photos, they just created artificial ones. They built a system that could generate fake dark images that perfectly mimicked all the electronic noise and weird artifacts a real camera sensor picks up in the dark. Here's their recipe for fake darkness. It's so cool. They started with a perfect, clean digital image of a gauge. Then, they just started digitally layering on all the junk a real camera creates. They added something called shot noise, which is basically the random way light particles hit the sensor, and read noise, which is just electrical interference from the camera's own electronics. And just like that, they had an endless supply of perfectly realistic training data. Okay, so the theory is clever, for sure. But does it actually work? It was time to find out. Time to move from all that synthetic data to the real world, testing the new AI on actual photos taken with a smartphone in extremely dark rooms. And the results are, well, they're just staggering. I mean, look at this. At 1 lux, which is already pretty dim, the new model is almost perfect. But check out that bottom row, 0.05 lux. We're talking practically pitch black. The original model had a success rate of 0. It couldn't read a single one. And the new model? Over 95% success. It's unbelievable. This bar chart really just says it all. In near total darkness, the original model is flat on the floor, at 0. If you just try to brighten the image first, you get a tiny little bump. But the new Enhance and Read model, it's a skyscraper by comparison, hitting a massive 95.2% success rate. This isn't just an improvement, it's a total game changer. Let's just let that number sink in for a second. 95.2%. That is near perfect accuracy in conditions that made the previous AI completely and utterly blind. A system that failed 100% of the time now works over 95% of the time. That's not an upgrade, that's a revolution. So, what does all this mean? I mean, reading a gauge in the dark is cool, but the real-world implications of this technology are huge. This is about building a more reliable 24/7 world. Seriously, think about it. This technology means you could have automated safety systems in factories that never stop working, even if there's a blackout. It means emergency crews in a disaster zone can get reliable data from critical systems, day or night. This allows for truly uninterrupted monitoring, making our entire infrastructure smarter and a whole lot more resilient. Ultimately, this isn't just about reading meters. What this research really does is close a fundamental gap in computer vision. It makes all of our autonomous systems more robust, more reliable, and capable of operating around the clock, no matter what the conditions are. It finally takes away one of AI's biggest blind spots. And that leaves us with one last, really fascinating question to think about. We've just seen an AI learn to see in a way that goes beyond human vision. Now that it's conquered the dark, what's the next human limitation it's going to overcome?